Welcome from wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in, to this week's live Q&A. So we're going to be talking about YouTube specifically, but we can speak generally on some other topics of live streaming or of content creation. I will say my experience is predominantly in YouTube. However, I'm streaming live right now to LinkedIn as well. So I do have a little smidgen of experience there. I was streaming to StreamYard. I was streaming to Twitter or X until they recently made changes to their requirements. And I was no longer fit the requirements of you must have a paid account to be able to stream here. Firstly, I want to say good morning or good afternoon to live stream consultants. So good to see you in the chat. Thank you for jumping in. So a live streaming regularly can pose its own difficulties. Having a schedule, keeping to your schedule, and it will always come down to the kind of person that you are as well. So today I'm feeling a little tired, a little wrung out. I probably have been burning the candle at both ends for a couple of weeks. And it was very hard to get moving today. I didn't sleep very well the night before last, and the night before that, so that my Friday night and my Saturday night, I didn't sleep very well at all. And then last night I did sleep well. However, it was just not quite enough time. So getting up and get moving this morning, it was a real decision for me, because I was sort of sitting like laying in bed going, well, I haven't really got a specific topic, so maybe I could just call it off. And then my husband actually was just like, you'll be annoyed at yourself if you do that. And he's right, because that's my personality. My personality is, if I have said I'm going to do something, I do it. Rain, hail or shine, it gets done. And so it's one of these things. If I've said I'm going to be here every week, unless I'm sick, I'm not sick, or unless I'm sick or traveling, I'm not sick or traveling, so I have to be here. And at least in my brain, I have to be here, because it's like, otherwise anything else that I do instead of is wrong. And do you have that feeling of like, well, this is wrong, this is wrongness? And I don't know if anybody else gets that feeling when things are happening, or when life is moving around them. But that's what happens with me. Doug says X and Facebook are going backwards in accessibility. Aren't they though? Aren't they though? And I wonder why, because all through all of their, if you look at all their, I was going to say propaganda, but it's not propaganda, all their sales pages and all their information pages for their business sort of level users, they're trying to make out that they're definitely pro streaming and they're pro video content, and except in every way that is sort of accessible to those that are creating, then it is kind of backwards, because Facebook now, you can't stream into a group with a third party like tool like Ecamm or StreamYard, and their inbuilt one is terrible. So why would you use that? To the point where I've just decided I'm just not going to stream to Facebook, because I can't use the tools that let me have my layouts how I want it. I can't utilize the tools that are being so easily and readily made available to us. Why would I use their platform if they're not allowing me to use the tools that I would like to use? So I'm not going to stream to Facebook until they allow in. And I do only stream to a group. I don't stream to a page. I suppose I could create a Chantelle Hills page and stream to that page. And I do have a Fiberific page, and I could stream to that page, but they're not monetized. So why would I do that? Why would I create content for a platform that does absolutely nothing in return? Like YouTube does stuff in return. Yes, admittedly, you do have to jump through hoops to get into the YouTube partner program. There are hoops, there are levels that you have to hit. There are milestones that you have to hit. There are community guidelines and requirements that you have to hit. But that's okay. I don't mind that that's there, but I know it's there, and I know what my goalposts are. And I'm under no illusions. I understand they do change. But on Facebook, the goalposts are crazy high. They're at like Olympic level. Whereas on Facebook, whereas on YouTube, they're a bit more like regular Joe level if he just perseveres. So I don't know. Does anybody else feel the same way? Let me know in the chat. Where are you streaming to outside of YouTube? Livestream Consultant says, don't forget to turn on your Buy Me a Coffee notifications. Well, I'm just double checking here. I actually did check them. This morning, I sat down because I had some serious tech issues over the weekend. So I was sitting here and I was like making sure everything's working. So if someone does buy me a coffee, the little up this side, the little thing's going to show up here, and hopefully I'll see it because I actually don't look at that screen. I look over here. But it should be in my peripheral. I have aimed the screen to be right in my peripheral. So, you know, if something comes through, if one of you do want to buy a coffee to test it out, you totally can. But I also remembered to pin the link and to put up the QR code up here. So, you know, I think I've gotten it all. I think I have. I'm not 100% certain. So on Saturday evening or nighttime, it was quite late actually, when I was, I just realized I totally have a typo in that pinned comment. Ew. But when I was moderating, or was I moderating yet by that time? But when I was watching the Daryl Eves live stream, I totally lost internet. And so I just jumped in and hotspotted from my phone so that I could still have internet. And then my phone internet went down as well. So it was the weirdest thing that all the internet crashed and burned. So I've like run out and rebooted the NBN as well as my router. So I'm like waiting for that to kick through, and I was like so frustrated. I try so hard to have so many things in place to make it so this doesn't happen. And my home internet and my mobile internet are with two different companies on two different networks, because I figure that should be helpful, right? That should be helpful. No, they both went down. It was just, it was very perplexing. Poor Doug probably copped the brunt of my frustrations, because I'm just like, and yeah, it was just one of those things. And I was sort of like, how could I stop this from happening? Because, you know, I don't have a UPS, so I don't have an uninterrupted power supply. And I was just like, maybe I should consider getting a UPS for a start. And then I was just like, well, I would need to get two, because I would need one for this room. Oh, Doug Hewson testing the alerts. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate you doing that. But that's gold. Actually, look, I have a button I can be like pressing for gold somewhere. Where is it? I should be organized with this. Where's my paddles? There's a paddle. Hype gold. There we go. That's gold. Thank you. Thank you. But in saying that, I totally forgot to attach the coffee sound within. Anyway, I'll sort all that. I will. So there we go.
Yes.
Press
coffee time. Coffee.
I'm out of the habit of pressing the button when things happen.
Cheetos.
So thank you, Doug, for testing the stream alert. So yeah, so even if I got a couple of UPS, so uninterrupted power supply, so one for this room that would look after my computer, and then one out in the office, which is a good, I'd say 6 meters from here. Out there to run that for the for the internet and the router, because that's near their ports. We didn't design this house; it's just where everything is. So even if I had them with uninterrupted power supply, it would not have solved the internet issue, because it wasn't a power issue. We didn't have a blackout. We didn't have a power fluctuation. Something happened with the internet temporarily. And the NBN and the Wi-Fi router, they were out of action for at least 2 hours. So it wasn't just a flicker, they were down, they were gone. So I rebooted my phone, because I'm running Android, but I'm a beta tester for Android. So sometimes there's some glitchy stuff that happens. So I had to reboot the phone to double check that. And once I rebooted the phone, everything was fine. But it was just another thing to keep in mind of when we're running these live streams. Luckily for me, I wasn't actually streaming. I was moderating, but it was still frustrating for me because it was something that in my brain, if I'm not there, it wasn't right. So I was just like, this is so frustrating. And there's nothing I could have done to have stopped it. So, before I live stream, I reboot my computer. Like, I'm on a Mac Mini. I'm apparently not supposed to have to reboot it all the time, but every time I stream, I reboot it. I make sure that there's that everything is shut down, except for right now. I've just realized that's open. Let's quit that. I make sure that I'm only running exactly what I need for the live streams. I don't have a million other things running as well. So I have the StreamYard I have not StreamYard. Today I'm using Ecamm, the Ecamm Live software running. I have a web browser open with a couple of tabs. And even then I have a look at what tabs I've got open. I only have the tabs I need for this stream. So I have YouTube and I have the Buy Me a Coffee open. If I need more, I can open more, but I try to start these streams with everything as clear and as clean as possible, using as little resources as possible, because streaming is resource heavy on your computers. Now, if you are using something like StreamYard or EVMarks or Prism Live or OBS, OBS is hard on your computer. So any of the web browser based versions, they're a lot less hard on your computer. So like Doug and I were streaming over the weekend. I'm sure you were here for that. But Doug and I were streaming over the weekend and we were using StreamYard for that. Now, one of the huge advantages to StreamYard is that it's that it's a cloud-based, because it meant that Doug and I in Australia with our super fast internet, mine is considered super fast internet in Australia, which is 100 down and 40 up. Megabits, that is, not gigabits, that's megabits. And mine's considered super fast. I've even had it described as lightning when I've done a speed test before. And you're shaking your head. You're just like, I know on the world stage of internet, this is not lightning. This is not even super fast. But this is really great compared to what I've had before. When I very first started streaming, I had 4 down and 1, was it 4 down and 1 up? No, I think it was 4 down and 2 up, because I had ADSL, which is just a step up from dial up. And then I increased that, and then I ended up getting copper. No, not copper. What is it? Cable internet, which that was game changing when I got that. That was a huge change from ADSL to the cable. And then the NBN rolled out in Australia and destroyed that. And so, because the cable was better than the NBN, I was really disappointed. It was like I was forced onto a new, NBN became our national broadband system. And when I was forced onto that, it made everything worse. But over time, I changed providers, and now my new provider offers a better plan. Still not as good as what I had on cable, but it's still, it's better. It's better. But I know that in the scheme of things, especially in Australia, unless you have fiber to the home, which not everybody does, your internet is iffy. So using some of these services like StreamYard are really great, because even though your system is a bit iffy, 100 megabits per second down and 40 megabits per second up, and that's the top level. So when the suburb is congested, it actually all drops down. So at nighttime, for me, it drops down. It's just one of these things. It's going to depend. So based on what internet access you have, and I know everybody's is totally different. Depends if they're regional, if they're in a city, if they're in an apartment building, it will depend. And at what time of the day you're streaming. Have a look at all the different streaming services you've got available to you. So because Doug and I wanted to be on camera together and co-stream, that means if we used something like Ecamm, which we both actually do like, it means it's a lot heavier on the internet usage because you have to bring the guest down onto your computer and then back up again. So, you know, it's a lot heavier use. So using something like StreamYard when you have a guest is just a lot better. I just heard a weird noise come through my computer, so I just want to have a check what that is. Nope, I don't know what it was. I don't know why I got a loud noise. So yeah, so it's just one of these things. Yeah, 100 down was correct. That's right, 100 megabits per second down. And in saying that, we were like, as a household before like streaming was an issue, like as in before live streaming was an issue, you know, like the 5010 that we had was fine just for watching a bit of Netflix and sending some emails and playing a Facebook game. It's totally fine. The second you are live streaming, you need to look at that upload speed. And that upload speed needs to be a lot better. SMA Sky says, as soon as I got my cable modem at my parents', I downloaded backup copies of a lot of things allegedly. I was probably 16 or 17 at the time and didn't know better. Yeah, gosh, yeah. Yeah, Facebook games, Doug, right? I actually kind of miss some of the Facebook games. I used to, I'm just trying to think. There was Farmville, I think was the big one I played. To the point where I would actually allow it to post on my, feed that I was looking for, like, you're looking for timber or whatever it was that I needed to finish a project. Like, that's how much I played Farmville. There's a group on Ravelry, which is a yarn crafting community that was specifically for Farmville players, so we could be all Farmville friends to create these insane Farmville communities, being able to, you know, gift each other the things that we needed. So I had like 200 Farmville friends. You know, it was wonderful. I kind of miss those days. I do. Farmville was the classic. Absolutely. Did you ever play any of the Facebook games? If you did, drop me in the chat. Let me know. I'm going to hydrate because I made it quite toasty in here and I'm very comfortable and very happy, but I am getting parched. So time for a drink. Yeah, Facebook games. I really do miss them. And you know, I go through phases with games because I know games are a bit of a time waster, especially on your tablets and on your phones. And if you're in a situation where you just need to kill a few minutes, like at a doctor's surgery or something like that, and you don't want to be having, you know, penning an email on your phone or something, a little game is good for that, or at least for me it is. And it also helps me to take my mind off things. I don't actually like going to the doctors. I'm not sure about you. It's not my favorite place to be. And so having a little game on my phone is good. But I have realized over the years that if I have too many games or I get too invested in a game, I'm one of these people that goes all in on something. So what I tend to do is I install a gameplay, you know, maybe 10 or 20 levels and then uninstall it. Because if I get too much further into that, then that's it. This is my game and I must keep playing. I had to uninstall Stardew Valley because it was just like, oh, I need to do this. And it was nearly like I was planning part of the Stardew Valley stuff into my daily schedule. And it was just like, okay, all right, this is a problem. You don't need to be making calendar notes to double check this thing when this task is over. Okay. So time to uninstall the game. Time to uninstall the game. SMA Sky says, my bottleneck for streaming is usually my laptop. I can stream 2 horizontal and vertical just fine as far as the internet goes, but OBS encoder would drop frames. We have a 1 gig service. Yeah, it definitely does sound like the graphics card on your computer might be more of the issue. What kind of laptop are you running? Just out of curiosity. And I'm very jealous of your 1 gig internet service. I don't even know if that's available to anybody in Australia. I have a friend in the US and he talks about his 1 gig up and 1 gig down and I'm just like, what? I'm so jealous. Livestream Consultant says, right now, if I'm lucky, I get 50 down and 10 up on our cellular internet here. Everything else available is way worse in our area. Yeah, it is. It's definitely it's definitely stressful, right? It's definitely dependent on where you are. And, but in saying that, if you use something like OBS where you can control the bitrate, and that's probably about the only peeve I have with Ecamm, is with Ecamm I control all the layout, I control everything, I don't get to control the bitrate. On OBS, when I very first started streaming, I used OBS because I needed that fine control of the bitrate, and I needed to be able to adjust the bitrate throughout the stream as well. And I realized that some of the problems that I thought were my internet were actually my computer, because my graphics on it weren't good enough. So understanding what you have, what the problem is, and what is actually causing it, because we often think the issue is the internet or the live streaming software that we're using, but sometimes it comes down to our hardware. Not all the time, because sometimes you might have like the most ubiquitous computer out there. My biggest pet peeve around here is we have a place where people buy their computers from called Harvey Norman, and they're told, oh yes, absolutely, you can stream with this. But, and even when you say, no, I mean live streaming, like I want to send out a signal, oh, for sure. What they actually mean is, yes, you can stream Netflix. It definitely has enough graphics processing for Netflix or a television streaming service. You can't, it doesn't have like a good enough graphics card to go out. So the number of people locally where they're like, I've just bought a U-Boot laptop that will do this thing. And I'm just like, send me through the specs of your laptop. And they're like, the what? And I'm like, just the model number. Send me the model number of your laptop. And then I go through and I have a look, and their graphics card is not going to cope for what it is that they want to do. And so making sure that before you purchase, you understand what you're buying. Now, in saying that, sometimes you've got no control over what you purchase. It was a gift. It was a hand-me-down. It was something that you've got. When I first started streaming, I was streaming on I was streaming on a desktop that I upgraded, which was great. But then I changed locations, and I was streaming using what was it? It was a Pro 4. It was I can't think of the name of it. It was like basically a little tablet that folded down that had a red keyboard. I can't think of what it was called. Oh my goodness. And I used OBS on it. It had one USB port, so I had to have a dongle on it. I've given it to my daughter. She uses it. She thought it was great until we bought her iPad Air. Not iPad Air, her MacBook Air. Microsoft Surface Pro 4. That's what it was. It was a Microsoft Surface Pro 4. And I did multi-camera streaming on that. I mean, dropped some frames. Didn't realize it was the Surface Pro that was the problem. But yeah. Let's have a look here. Lots of comments coming through, so I'm just going to go back and grab some of those. What up, Jerry? Good to see you here. Good to see you here. SMA Sky says, wide on a 50-foot Ethernet, I only get about 93 up and down, but on Wi-Fi I get around 400. Yeah, I would actually have a look at the quality of your Ethernet cable. 50 foot's not that long. I mean, it is long, but it's not that long. Do you know what I mean? Like I've done 20 meters, which is a 60 foot, and still had good connection. Still had nearly the same as what we had on a 1 meter as well as the Wi-Fi. I would definitely be checking the quality of that Ethernet cable for sure. I played one of the farm games on Facebook, but not Farmville. Maybe it was Farmtown. There's a few farm games on Facebook. That was what is it about farm games? Like so many people I know just love farm games. It was weird. It was weird. Oh wow. Jerry says I just upgraded to fiber last week. 1 gig down, 800 megabits up. Oh my gosh. Oh. Tech for your needs. Great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Russell says that it can also depend on what others in your household are doing. Absolutely. It can depend on others in your household. And like I was saying, it can depend on what was happening in your neighborhood, if everybody's home from work or if the kids are on school holidays. You are sharing this network. So while you're paying for this amount, your provider is pushing a certain amount into your area, but it's still got to be divided amongst everybody in that area. So it can really, it can vary a lot. That's right. Understand that both your hardware and your software is important. That's right. It needs to be balanced. There's no point in speccing out the hardware if your software is down, and there's no point having the top of the line software if your hardware can't cope with it. You need to find that sort of happy point where they're both at a reasonable rate. Now, if you can spec them both up, that's great, but there's no point over speccing one and not the other, for sure. Hardly normal. I know, like, I always call it hardly normal, and I have to remember that when I'm talking publicly, it's Harvey Norman. I personally will not buy a computer from them. There's many places I will buy a computer from. That is not one of them, which unfortunately, it is one of the main places a lot of people buy computers from around here. Main Street Popcorn, great to see you. In the US, I have the low-level Google Fiber, one up and one down. Didn't realize that other industrial countries are not the same. Google Fiber is only available in the US. We do have fiber in Australia, but it's even top level NBN fiber. It doesn't give you one up and one down. You can get the 1 gig down, but I think it still maxes out at 200 or 300 up. And again, that will depend on who you are, where you are, all this kind of stuff. You mean the internet is weak because the more people use it, the more absolutely. Yeah, definitely be looking around for the deals. Like Jerry was saying here, his new internet that he's paid for, which is way better, is actually less than his cable that he was getting. It's definitely worth checking out and seeing what you can do. It's always worth keeping an eye on things. Let's have a look here. Live stream consultants, I use OBS, but I feed into StreamYard via the virtual cam. It gives me the best of both worlds. That's what I was doing for quite a few years. It was really great. So I started out with OBS only. Then I was starting to use StreamYard for it was a work thing that had guests all the time. So I got StreamYard for that. And then started using StreamYard more for my own things because I'm paying for it. I may as well use it more. Was virtual camming in for that. Then I changed over to the Mac and then jumped into the eCam world. Like I posted out on Twitter. I replied to a comment on Twitter, and it was like one of these things that was just like the eCam fam, like all their live streams and their community and everything. Because even though I didn't have eCam, I tried to keep an eye on it because I like live streaming. And I didn't have a Mac, so I couldn't use it. I couldn't test it, but I could still appreciate how much support they gave people, and the group around it was just phenomenal. And it was because of that and streams, like I was watching Doc Rock streams, and I was watching Katie Falk streams, and like all this sort of stuff. And I wanted to be part of that community. So when it came time, my laptop was dying and I needed to change, like I needed to buy either a new Windows machine and I was just like, I could get a Mac Mini for the same money, like a Mac Mini and a second monitor for the same money that I was going to spend on the Windows laptop that I was looking at. And I was like, then I can have both worlds. Because if I take the pressure off my Mac laptop, it will survive longer because it was going downhill fast. And so I did. I bought the Mac Mini and I got the eCam and it's great. Keeping an eye on everything around is really good. It's really good. With our fiber service, we've got the kids on their tablets, 2 TV streaming, and my wife's phone, and our computers, no problem data-wise. Yeah, look, we're a data-heavy house. When we were able to upgrade from to unlimited internet, we used to be limited to 200 gigs per month, and then 500 gigs per month, and then we got an unlimited service. But yeah, definitely, it was definitely a game changer when we stopped being because they wouldn't shut you off or bill you more. They would just bottleneck you. There's a word for it, where they just like crack it, like instead of the 100 down, you'd get like 4. There's a word, I can't think of it. When you are starting out, you're using what you have and then you can upgrade your gear. Absolutely. And throttle. Thank you. That is exactly the word I was looking for, Doug. Throttle. Tech for your knees. 100% right. I started streaming with what I had. So I had a computer that I was using for video editing, which luckily I'd upgraded its graphics card. So it was pretty good. The problem being it's this massive tower that had to be in this one spot because it didn't have Wi-Fi. So I had to be within connectivity of this plug and I only had a certain length cord. And it was not a good spot in the house to stream. I couldn't set up lighting properly. I couldn't set up a backdrop. And it was just this ugly corner of the house. And editing videos didn't matter because no one could see that. But the second I was able to move, I moved. So that's what I did. But yeah, learning to and understanding the differences between your gear's limitation versus your limitations, because you not understanding what you have may make you upgrade before you need to. Whereas if you understand all the limitations, and I'm the same with cameras as well, understanding the limitations of the device versus your limitations, and understanding the limitations of its connectivity to something else. So the two things connected, what does that limitation look like? Understanding all of that before you go and upgrade, because you may be upgrading before you need to. And I'm not here for that. Like, I'm all about using the gear that you have. And when you upgrade to something good that you're not going to need to worry about. You're not going to need to worry about upgrading again for a little while. Okay, let's keep going through the chat here. Russell just tested while watching you plus 3 other connections open, 873 down, 883 up. Oh my goodness. I live stream consultants, I too am jealous of Russell's internet. Very much so. I try not to be jealous of what other people have. But when it comes to good upload speeds, it's just really frustrating because we could have had that in Australia and then the government went, yeah, nah, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it this other way that's cheaper. And it's just been a dumpster fire. I think we've been paying 30 more for a 500, or maybe it was 250 both ways. I can't remember now. They upgraded the service that cost less, but they didn't tell you. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Livestream Consultant says, at some point I'll upgrade my old MacBook Air basic laptop to an M series MacBook Pro. Maybe the end of this year, we will see. Yeah, look, one thing I'll say is I didn't join the Mac world until Silicon. I wasn't that, like, while I loved Ecamm and I loved the Ecamm fam, I wasn't a fan of Apple. I had an iPad because I wanted access to, what was it called? What was that audio only thing that was great for ages and then just wasn't great anymore? Clubhouse. I wanted in on Clubhouse. So when I had to get a tablet and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go to the iPad. And it was because I wanted access to Clubhouse more than anything else that the iPad could offer, which is so sad. And then about 6 months later, they opened it up. So yeah, it is, it's very, very weird. It's very weird. But yeah, so my Mac Mini here that I use for all my live streaming, it's an M1 16 gigabit Mac Mini. It's great. Like, I haven't hit any limits for it in my live streaming. I don't use it for gaming or anything like that. But in my day-to-day work and my live streaming, I haven't hit the limits of the Mac Mini. So I would say that when I want to upgrade, like, because I'm looking at a laptop, I still need a laptop, and my laptops here now are basically desktops. Their battery lives are dead. My big one can't USB-C charge at all, and my little one, which is supposed to be able to, is dying a slow death and now won't charge off my brick. So it is just bizarre how that's all happening. But they're old Windows devices. They're like 2019 Windows devices, which means that they're aging out. So rather than getting them repaired and doing all that sort of stuff, if it was a desktop tower, I would take it in. But these are laptops and they're not supposed to be tethered to a PowerPoint. It's kind of the point, right? And And I am wanting to get out and go and sit somewhere else to work, but I can't. I am tethered to this desk now, and that I find frustrating. So I am saving for a laptop, and I've decided that I do want it to be a MacBook Pro. I keep jumping between a MacBook Air and a MacBook Pro, but I think one of the lower end models of a MacBook Pro will be what I need to sort of go with, rather than the MacBook Air. So. And I just want a small screen. I don't need a big one. I don't need the big 15-inch, not 15, what is it, 17 inches? I don't even know. But the small 14 or 15-inch screen will be totally fine. So, because right now what I'm using for a laptop, are you ready for it? It's my iPad on a stand, on its Magic Keyboard. Is that what it's called? Can I see it? I can see the box, but the box doesn't have it. And that's what I've got. That's what I'm currently using. But because it is an iPad and it's running iOS, I keep coming up against, I can't get to the desktop side. So I can't get into the back end of my YouTube channel analytics on the desktop side. So I'm missing a lot of data. So it's definitely a thing. Upgrade your skills before upgrading your equipment. Master what you have. 100% agree with this. I totally agree with it. On our phones, it's a different company than our home internet. We get unlimited data on our phones, not throttled, I'm pretty sure. But we only get 5 gigabits of tether service, so our phones can be hotspots. Yeah, I have 40 gigabits a month on my phone. I think it's definitely not unlimited on the phone. So, and hotspotting, it reduces the speed, but I don't believe that there is a limit on what I can hotspot. Clubhouse, thank you. Yes, it was Clubhouse. Is Clubhouse still a thing? I believe it is still a thing, but it's nowhere near as good as what it was. And yeah, it was just very disappointing. I really enjoyed a lot of the rooms that I was in and the conversations that were happening. And even just sitting there and listening to them at night was just fantastic. Let's have a look here. So, hey, Mike, how are you going? Thoughts on WLAN being banned in Scandinavia? So I'm assuming you mean wireless networks, and I had no idea that was a thing. So everything has to be tethered. Why is that? I've no idea why that would be a thing. That'd be frustrating. So no wireless at all, no Wi-Fi in your homes. Wow, that would be really, really frustrating. That would, like, I can understand because you've written here, everything has to be tethered. It's messing up a lot. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. And that is a boom. Bye. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, buy it nice or buy it twice. I love that. Is that Teach Gear? I'll definitely have to check that out, because you're right. You definitely need to be aware of what you're buying in relation to what you're using, and making sure that what you're doing is relevant to, like, the gear that is relevant to what you're doing. And I love that saying, buy it nice or buy it twice. Because I've done that. I bought microphone and then realized, oh, dang it, this isn't going to do what I need it to do. I need to buy another one. And it was because I didn't look properly. And it was on me. It wasn't the packaging. It was everything was written right there, and I kind of just missed it. So definitely looking for that. So it's only temporary. So I actually didn't know about it. I don't have an opinion on it. I'm really sorry. I can imagine it would be very frustrating. I can't imagine our household functioning the way it does without Wi-Fi. So yeah, it's very weird, and I don't understand why that's happening for you, and I'm very sorry that it is. Let's have a look here. Yeah, my MacBook Air is an early 2017. It'll run OBS, but it hates when I add an external monitor to have 2 screens. Yeah, and that's some of those limitations on the older MacBooks that was one of the issues that made it so I wasn't going to use it, because I'm a 2-monitor girl. If I can't have 2 monitors, that's one of the things that I look for. I need to be able to have 2 monitors. So on my Mac Mini, I can't have 2 HDMI monitors, but I can have 1 HDMI monitor and 1 digital, DV cable. So that's what I've done. I've got one of each. Why skip your question? I didn't think I did skip your question. I'm just a little bit behind, that's all. Yeah, I think I got your question, didn't I? Let me know if I did miss your question. But yeah, I thought I got to it, but I am a bit behind, that's all. Let's have a look here. Oh, that is how we met, isn't it? It was through Clubhouse. I actually met some really amazing people through Clubhouse. So yeah. Let's have a look here. Sagi. All right. Yeah, I do watch his channel. I'll definitely have to have another look because, well, we're talking live streaming right now. So I've got a feeling, I've got some extra people coming in today that are just trolls. Let's have a look here. Here we go. I purchased 6 different mics until I found the right one for my voice. The grandkids love using the other mics, so they do get used to it. Buying mics is really hard, especially and no, I'm not vertical streaming. I'm not, I promise you. And you know what? This is one of the reasons why I stopped vertical streaming was because of the caliber of the people jumping in and commenting. They weren't actually interested in live streaming or talking about YouTube. They were just trolling. So like trolling to troll, like they were trawling to troll. So yeah, but no, I'm not vertical streaming today. But yeah, so so buying microphones, all the good audio people that I've found, or all the good audio people I had found previously were men. So finding a microphone for a female voice that worked is different than finding a microphone for a male voice. So it was really awkward for me trying to find a microphone and to make the adjustments and to get it all set up how I wanted it. And I was just like, definitely had to go and keep hunting. And it was trial and error. But the other thing I had to accept was that I may not be able to get the same richness of sound. I don't have the same timbre of my voice. I may just not get the same richness and depth to the sound. And so I had to accept that. And once I accepted that, it made it a lot easier for me. And so I've actually got 2 mics that I switch between. So right now I'm using a Rode NTG because I speak with my hands. So having all this space clear is very nice. And I also live stream on my Fiberific channel with a hands down shot. So having the hands down available and open without a mic arm in the way, the Rode NTG is really awesome for that. But I also have my pod mic, which I bought when I moved into this studio because I only had the NTG out my other studio because there was no need for anything that was a bit more like that rejected external sound. But in this room, behind this wall is the family bathroom. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't picking up those sounds. Yeah. And so when I'm streaming and the family are home, I tend to use that one more. But right now it's just me. My husband is home. He's staying home today. He's taking me to the doctor later on. And so he's being my Uber. He's had a day working from home to be my Uber, and I'm very grateful. But he's being very quiet. He knows not to use that bathroom. He will use the other one. But yeah, so it comes down to a lot of trial and error. I stuck with the Boya BY-M1 for a long time. And when I did my live streaming out on the back patio, I would do these live die sessions. So I needed to be able to move around and still be heard. So the big 6-meter cable was fantastic for that. So I would use a Boya and just plug it directly into the laptop and go in that way. So sometimes just trial and error and testing. So I went with the Boya for a while. So even when I was live streaming in a studio, I'd still have my little lav mic on and go with the Boya. One of the big reasons why I moved away from the Boya is I actually have breathing difficulties. I have chronic asthma, and sometimes when my asthma was bad, the breathing sounds were really over the top. I'd listen back to the replay and I wouldn't be able to deal with it. So I was like, I need to change something. No one else had said anything, but it was something that bothered me. And so I went hunting for another microphone. I chatted with a good friend of mine, Justin Brown, and he recommended the Rode NTG. And I have it it's just out of shot here. So it's very close. I don't have it over on the top of the camera. I have it very close. I could probably zoom out and you might be able to see it. Can you see it? Nope, you can't see it up there. But yeah, it's just up past, I've got a webcam just here that I'm literally like, hang on. It's about 3 inches above that point. So this is about 4 inches above this point is the other microphone. So you just have to trial and see what works for you. And they don't have to be the big expensive microphones. You know, you don't need a Shure SM7B. You just don't. Even if you're podcasting and you're doing, the Shure SM7B may not be what you need. Don't think that that's the only option. It's a great option, but it's not the only option. Let's have a look. SMA Sky says, I don't have much trouble with trolls in my vertical lives. Oddly, I only get around 200 to 300 views on a good day though. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's great. I would consider 200 to 300 good. Let's have a look. I want to get the RE20 and associated bits, but it's out of my price range. My favorite radio stations use them, and I looked into the mic and I love the design. Yeah, it's the RE20 is probably overkill, right? Like it probably is. But sometimes if you, like for me, the pod mic was the one I really wanted. But it was overkill, so I didn't get it for a long time. Because the Rode NTG it can be a USB mic. Well, it is a USB mic. And so I was able to just plug it into my computer. And so I didn't need to get a sound board or a sound desk or an audio interface. I didn't need that. So I didn't have to buy the mic plus an audio interface. It was just the mic. So when I first moved into this studio, I got the pod mic and the little, just drop something there, the little Rode AI1, which is their little 1-in, 1-out interface box. And I had that for a really long time. And then the new Rodecaster Pro 2 came out, which meant that eventually, which is one of the reasons why I waited before I bought it, I would be able to run my NTG through it and have all my mics together and be able to just choose. Like I could change to the pod mic right now if that's what we wanted to do, but it's by turning on a slider and unmuting something. So being able to have these options was good for me. But you have to decide what's good for you. And the other advantage is if my Rodecaster dies, I can just grab the USB plug and just jam it into my Mac Mini or my Mac Mini hub, and I've still got a mic. I'm not reliant on an extra piece of like an extra device, and being able to troubleshoot and have it so that if something dies, being able to make it so you can still be live. Like if my camera's still on but my audio's not working, I can just reroute the audio quite quickly. I've got an unplug from there and it plug in there. So, you know, these things are possible. I've made that too low and it's showing. There we go. That's better. But yeah, so I'll keep going through. Russell loves his Rode NTG 4, best mic ever. Love that you love your mic. Live stream consultant says I want one too, but I found the I'm going to destroy the name. The Fifine K669D did the job perfectly at $38. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. Good morning, amazing yacht destinations. Great to see you. Oh, Captain Crush is also in the house. Good to see you as well. That means that you've got the NTG perfectly placed. Yeah, look, I did some research. I've been using it now for a couple of years. I think I've got it pretty well down pat. It's not what I would consider perfect audio, but you know what? It does the job. So I try not to focus on it too hard. Tech for Your Needs says that it uses the Rode Wireless Go with the lavalier mic or Interview Go. Yeah, look, do you know what? The Rode Wireless Go system is about the only thing left on my mic list that I want. Is a Rode Wireless, either Go or Me, or probably not the Pro. I don't need the Pro. But yeah, one of those would be really awesome. And that would just round out everything then. Do I need it? No. And that's probably why I haven't just gone out and bought it, is because I don't actually need it. But do I want it? Oh, yes, I do. Definitely. So, you know, if Rode ever decided to go, hey, random small channel, we'd love for you to take this Rode wireless system and make a video and test it out. You get to keep them at the end. I'd be like, sure. You send them to me. I will make you a special video. I will leave the house to test them out. I would record in public. And if you know me, you know that is an issue. But to test it out, I would legit record outside of the yard. But anyway, yeah, having redundancy is good just in case if your wallet allows it. Usually what I try to do is I try to not wait until equipment is totally dead before I replace it. So if I know that that I want to, you know, get the Rode NTG or to go and get the pod mic, my Boya BY-M1 lav mics are still perfectly functioning. And I test them every now and again just to double check. And if I need to, they will do the job. I also have the little adapter so I can use it in my phone. So, because funnily enough, phones don't have 3.5mm headphone jacks anymore, and yet all the lav mics, well, not all of them, but the lesser expensive lav mics still come with it. So, yeah. Captain Crush, I do like your profile picture. It looks very colourful. Very colourful indeed. I found different mics make you sound different. You need the mic that works for your voice. Absolutely. Absolutely. And unfortunately, I don't know what the situation is in the US. And I hear of people like, hey, if you can go into a store and try it out first. I don't have any stores here that I can try anything out. That they may have them in stock, but then there's no way to test them. And they won't let you unseal a box to test one. So I have to be kind of sold on it already because I'm going to need to order it. So, and I hate to say it, the best way for me to order it and be able to test it and be able to send it back if there's an issue is Amazon. And while I would prefer to support a local business, when it comes to some of that stuff, they don't have as easy to return policy. Like I can't use it and return it for no reason other than it didn't suit my needs. So not being able to do that means that I am, you know, relegated to something like Amazon. Now, in saying that, I could quite happily order the Rode wireless Me's or Go's or whatever they are from a smaller local business because I know what I want. That's what I want. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I would prefer to have the two. In all honesty, I would. Just in case I ever do get to do an interview outside of the home. I will say that majority of the interviews that I do are here on StreamYard, so it's not been an issue. But I would like to get out more and do more in-person things, so that would be great. But it's a nice to have, not a necessary thing. SMA says, yeah, I'd like a wireless too. And one of those Zoom audio recording box thingies. That's what I started with. Where is it? Where's mine? Hang on a second. This is my first audio interface. This was what I used for my live streaming for years. So I used it for recording my videos. I used it for my live streaming. It still works. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly functional. Zoom H5, it was great. Plugged in my little wireless, my little lav straight into it. It's awesome. The only problem I have is that it uses the square USB out. And when their cord died, it was really hard for me to find another cord that allowed the same quality through. But I found one. It was a Ugreen cord. So thanks, Ugreen. Always coming to the party with the good quality cords. But this was great. And because of this as well, it means I can have it, but like you can stand it up. It stands by itself, or you can put it on a tripod and you can use this to record your two-person interview. So, you know, or you can have one person on a lav and record this because you can record multiple tracks at the same time. So it's great. I think it's fantastic and I'm glad I got it. Don't tend to use it as much anymore, but I do have it. So my backup audio interfaces are, if my Rodecaster Pro 2 dies, then I can jump over to my Rode AI1. And if that's not going to cut it, then I've got my Zoom H5. It's a H5. Let's have a look here. UPSs are a requirement in Florida. I have 6 total between my various systems. Yeah, like in all fairness, we don't actually have many power outages here. But it's still something that's a really good insurance policy to have. I wouldn't need 6. I would need maybe 2. So, yeah. Your Samsung still has a 3.5mm jack? Yeah, mine doesn't. I upgraded to the Pixel 7 and gave my husband my Samsung, and even that one doesn't have it. Amazon is what I use for testing everything. Then I can return it, usually find it for cheaper price on the company's direct website when I make a decision. See, I don't do that. Like if it's what I want, I just keep it. Because that, in my brain, that's my trade-off. It's like if I go into an actual store and try and say shoes, but I know I can get them cheaper online. It was a service person in that store that helped me find the shoes that fit. I'll buy them from them. But I can tell you right now, if I want to buy a second pair, I'll buy those online. That's for certain. Now that I know they fit. So yeah, but yeah, I think it's, but if it doesn't work, having that knowledge, I can just send it back is great. I love that. And it took me a little bit because I wasn't used to being able to do that. It's not really a big thing in Australia. It's like, it's buyer beware. If you buy it and it's crap, it's on you. Whereas with Amazon coming into Australia, it was just like, actually, we can just send it back. So that was really cool. Callie Plains has just hit 20k subscribers on a live stream. That's awesome. That's so good. Congratulations, Sal. That's fantastic. That's so good. Sorry, definitely needed a drink. Was getting a bit parched. Okay, yeah, the older USB style, right? Like, everything I have is USB-C now. Like, everything is my iPad, my phone, my watch. Like, everything I use, my headphones, they're all USB-C. I love it. I love being able to just have one plug and just charge everything. Makes it great for traveling as well. Yeah, SMA Sky, that's one of the things for me. I'm not too far from a hospital, and I think we are on a similar I'm not sure if we're on their exact grid or the adjacent grid that they would draw their additional power from, but we don't have too much of a problem. Even when our street goes out, the house across the road and us, we stay on. We're on a diagonal trajectory to the hospital. So there's something weird about it. I don't know why, but usually even when our whole street goes out, we stay on. But every now and again, we go out and the whole street stays on. So not very often, but it does happen. Florida Manufacturing says, I use the Rode Wireless Go 2 when doing house videos with real estate agents. I record it into the Zoom F1 or a Zoom HN9. The Zooms are really good. They're really good. Estimated Sky says my Canon M50 is micro USB, and my telescope hand controller is that older small rectangular plug, not the big one that the printers use though. Yeah, that's this one. I think it's the USB. The USB-B, I think it's called, or it's the media one, whatever the media one was. I can never remember. But it's the only thing I still have that requires that plug. I have one thing that requires an old micro, and I will do everything I can not to use it. I hate the micros. I've got the media plug on that one. But I think pretty well everything else. Just trying to think. My big laptop still has its, Asus round plug on it. But I think pretty well everything else. Yeah. No, I think the micro USB is different. The micro USB is a different one. Because I bought it and it was wrong. That's why I remember that. It's flatter. Oh, wait. Or am I thinking the mini? I don't even know anymore. Why are there so many options? But yeah, I think of it as the media one because it was on all my media devices. So my Rode Zoom, not Rode, my Zoom H5, it was on my old cameras, things like that, things that required media transfer. So I always thought of it as a media one. Doug says he gets them confused as well. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. Because it's just like, there's just too many. There's too many. But, I also appreciate they exist because they grew and they changed and they grew and they changed. What are you bringing? Well, I'm going to Vid Summit, not VidCon, but I'm taking my iPad Air. I don't have a laptop option to take that can travel. So until I continue saving and get something that I can use, that's what I've got. So I have no options. It's that or nothing. So that's what I'm taking. It's not ideal, but it's what I've got. So go with that. Off topic. All right. But was doing some recording at an event. I found that a selfie stick that handle holds to an open and as a stand is a blessing. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Some of them are fantastic. And that you just open a little thing and the little 3 feet just, yeah, there's some really great ideas. Yeah, Vid Summit, yeah. But no, it's Vid Summit, my gear that I'm planning on taking is my iPad Air, my phone, a Boya BY-M1 and an adapter, and a tripod, like a little Pixie Men Frodo tripod, and one of my little tripod extension arms, just to get a bit of height on the Pixie. That's it. That's all I'm taking. I really won't have much opportunity for creating content. I'm there working, so I'm not going to be walking around the floor, hanging out and chilling. I'm there for my job, so I've got a spot I'll be stationed at. So, and I actually think they're bringing a laptop for me to use because they know I don't have one. So that is it's a bit sad when they're like, oh, I assume you'll be bringing a laptop, and then you're like, actually I won't be. I'll be bringing my iPad Air with a keyboard attached to it. So yeah. What are you doing interviews with a Zoom recorder? I'm not actually interviewing anybody, but if I was going to, I would do it directly into my phone. I'm not planning on interviewing anyone while I'm there. So, yeah, it's not on my to-do list, at least not this year. Let's have a look here. Also off topic. let's go with off topic. It's off topic time now anyway. It's after we've been going for an hour. I'm starting to learn a new to me open source software for making music. LMMS it's called, works similar to FL Studio. I don't know what any of those things are, but I'm glad that you're stepping out and trying some new stuff. That is awesome. I know that Nick makes a lot of music. I don't know what he uses for that, but he makes a lot of music. So you could probably chat to him and see what he's doing. I really don't know what they are, but I am glad that you're stepping out and trying some new stuff. Doug's tech that he's taking is his phone, his MacBook, a small tripod, and his wireless Me kit. Yeah, like if I had a wireless kit, I would definitely take it, like hands down. And one thing I do want to look at is while I'm in the US, I want to have a look at DJI. It's not really easily accessible here, and I would prefer Rode, but if I can get a better deal on another top quality, like I'm not looking at any of the really cheap wireless labs. They've got their own issues with interference and stuff. So I'm looking at Rode or DJI. I think I would prefer Rode, I'll be honest. Be prepared to be interviewed though. You're getting more known in the streaming content creating world. I will be prepared if somebody asks if they can find me. So yeah, I'm going to be tucked away. So we'll see. I have been told I will get time to come down and catch up with people, but a lot of my stuff is going to be after hours. So either breakfasts or dinners and things like that. So we'll see how we go. I really don't know what my schedule looks like yet. They're still fine-toothing it. So I don't actually know. DJI is not that much cheaper than Rode. Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking I'm just going to stick with Rode, because I've got all the Rode interface and everything that they'll just connect to. Whereas DJI, I'm going to have to, I'll have to get my little dongle out and go that way, which is doable. It's doable. We tested it. It worked on the Rode wireless transmitter kit. What are they called? Rode Link. Worked on the Rode Link. It'll work on a DJI for sure. Then there's the what color t-shirt to wear. Dude, my shirts are being provided. I don't even have to think about what color t-shirt to wear. So, yeah. Ecosystem for the win. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to, like, the last time I traveled for an event, I did take a whole bag of gear. I took a camera and a tripod, and I thought that I'd pared everything down, but it was still a whole extra bag I had to carry on the plane. What I'm taking now is basically my phone and my iPad, which I'm already carrying on, but my little tripod and my little tripod mount will just fit in the crevices of my suitcase. They won't even take up any additional space. So I always carry my phone and my laptop on board anyway, so that's no biggie. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Look, Doug, you've flown the flight that I want to fly. Do I need to download everything, or is there an onboard entertainment system? Like, I definitely plan on downloading some content to watch just in case there's nothing on there that I want to watch. But I need to know these things. Oh, no. We've got to get Chantelle a big Stetson cowboy hat so she'll fit in there in Texas. I don't think any amount of hats or boots is going to make it so I fit into Texas. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be fun, but I also don't want to insult anybody by playing in what they consider their gear. Like, do you know what I mean? This is why I love my Sony ZV-1. Small, compact, doesn't take a lot of space. Yeah, look, I usually take my Canon M6. And it also is small and tiny, doesn't take a lot of space, but it was a whole extra bag. So, oh yeah, I've got, I have an extension cord. I've bought a adapter plug that's got the normal 3-pin plug, like the normal power plug. Do I have something with a normal power plug to show you what ours looks like? The heater. Hang on a second. Bing! Oh, it's only got 2. All right, so it doesn't have ground. Up on the table, little heater. There we go. Don't hit any buttons. Okay, so our plugs look like this, right? And sometimes there's a third one that's vertical, but it's the same sort of plugs as that, but a third one, but that's the ground, right? So I've got an adapter plug. I bought an adapter, so it's not a converter. So, but nothing that I'm taking to recharge is more than a USB anyway. So, I've brought a plug that can plug into the US power socket that I can plug my little thing into if I want, but also it's got USB-A and USB-C plug holes. So everything I will be bringing, so I'll probably, like, even my brick that I charge for additional power is a USB-C charge. So most of the things I need, I'll just be plugging into the USB-C to charge anyway. So luckily I'm not bringing anything that needs a power conversion. So that is always, that's always a good thing to keep in mind, because we don't just have different plugs, we have different power. So we're 240 volt, you guys are 110, I think is what it is. It's whatever it is, it's different. And so some of our stuff doesn't go well in the US. We need power conversion as well as plug adapters. So I'm bringing a plug adapter, and everything's USB, so it'll be fine on your 110. It might just take longer to charge. So yeah, so I've already got that one. That was something, because I get equipment shipped from the US, so I do need to adapt that. Yeah, that's right, you guys. You've got it. The 110 60 hertz versus 240 50s. That's right. Yeah. So So, you know, and because I bought electrical equipment over from the US, I've had to learn and understand all that stuff as well. So I do have converters here if I needed to bring one, but I didn't actually. I found this really cool plug that had all the extra USB things all in one piece that is in the wall. But worst case scenario, I would just go and pick up a local inexpensive extension cord. If the power plug is nowhere near where I want it to be, then I'll just go and find like I don't know, there's got to be a Best Buy in Dallas, right? Like somewhere I can buy an extension cord. That would be all, and it'd be like, who wants a free extension cord that I will never use in Australia ever again? So yeah, I don't know what I do that way. Yeah, I'm not bringing my Yetis. I was like, oh, should I bring my Yeti water bottle or one of my Yeti tumblers? But I'm not going to. I'm not going to bring them. I'm just gonna use what's available rather than, because these things are heavy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they're heavy. And so even though I would love to bring my Yeti travel mug, even my small one, just to keep my beverages warm when I'm up at my little dungeon desk, wherever that's going to be. Yeah. So I'm going to need... Yeah. 64 ounce. That's a lot. That's a lot of cold drink. Yeah, I'm not going to bring mine, because what is this guy? Like, this is a 1.1 litre. I think it's only 32 ounces. I'm just imagining twice this. Holy goodness. But yeah, it is definitely an issue that I've been considering, but I'm not going to bring one of my Yetis, because if something happened to it or it got lost in my luggage, I'd be sad. I love my Yetis. I would like to get more Yetis. Although my family feel I have enough Yeti. They're wrong. They're incorrect, but they feel like I have enough Yeti. I have 3. So I have my water in my big one, and then I've got my 2 ones for my coffees, which are much smaller because I drink less coffee. It depends on how far the Best Buy is, because you don't want to spend a lot on transport getting there. Look, I think from what I've been told, there are team members that have cars there, and that they're willing to transport me around for some bits and bobs here and there. So that will be helpful. Okay, so I now know why we started getting some different faces in the chat. Roberto Blake shared the chat. Well, thank you very much, Roberto. I appreciate you doing that. I know you're not here in the chat, but I do appreciate you sharing it. Island Life on Tasmania. Hello, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. If you've got any YouTube questions, throw them in. But yeah, I'll have to have a look around. I don't know what's local. I really don't know what's local. And it doesn't have to be a Best Buy, just somewhere where you can buy an extension cord. Like here in Australia, I can buy an extension cord from my local supermarket. It's not the best quality, it's not the best price, but I can get one. So, you know, I don't know what the deal is for you guys. Oh, you'll get me one when we get there? Yeah, thank you. Extension cords are life. I actually, whenever I travel locally, I always pack an extension cord in a power pack. So I've got like this crate of stuff that I just keep crated. And I just throw it in the back of the car if I'm doing any events, or I've got, just before Vid Summit, I actually have a fiberific retreat that I run. So that's on the 16th to the 18th of August. And so I'm actually getting, like, putting a retreat together as well with paying attendees before I go to Vid Summit. So I keep getting lost in Vid Summit, and I'm like, no, you've got to do this other one first. There is weeks before Vid Summit. There's 2 weeks before the retreat. So, but yeah, I have a crate, and it's got like power, and it's got a light, and it's got, you know, all these extra things that I like to make sure I have when I travel. So just in case I don't have it, like a lot of places don't actually have a decent bedside light. And I was actually testing mine out. Here it is. I'll just bring it up. It's just caught in some cables right now. So this is the light that I travel with, because it folds down quite flat, right? locally traveling when I have my car. I need to specify locally traveling when I'm in my car. But it actually folds out. I don't have it plugged in right now. Just, where's that extension cord? It goes on. No, it's not close enough. No. Anyway, I can control whether it's, you know, it's got like, it's got 10 different temperatures, 10 different intensities, as well as I can change it warm to cool. So it's a really great bedside light for reading or for crafting. I usually have it because I'm crafting somewhere. So, and most places don't supply a decent light to craft with. So that's the one, that I like to use. Oh, you'll get me one of those giant water goblin cups. A water goblin cup. Oh my goodness. Let's have a look here. I'm still nervous about putting the cards tagged to a landing page. There are vague warnings from Google. They'll close your channel by violating policy on links, but policy is not clear. No, I would, you'll be fine. Like, Justin Brown puts links to his opt-ins. And if his channel was going to be shut down, they have an issue if you're linking off to something weird or janky. As long as your link is clear on what it is, then you should be fine. It's usually only for people who are going and doing dodgy stuff. So yeah. Are you flying with Doug together? I'm not sure if Doug's going to Vid Summit. Doug is going to Vid Summit. But we are on different flights. Like, we're both flying out of the same air city. Maybe another year we can try and hook it up so that we're flying together. So that would be awesome. Have someone to fly with, so I'm not flying by myself. It's very selfish of me. But yeah, so, but we're not this time. Funnily enough, we're actually flying out on the same day, but at different times on different airlines. Us plus Dad's great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. I hope your stream went really well. Yeah, links are only an issue if they link to something that breaks the community guidelines. You're linking to a paid course or an opt-in page for something that's directly for your community. That's not questionable. That is perfectly legitimate. And you're using a reputable site, because I'm assuming you're linking it to your Kajabi site. That is reputable. So you shouldn't have any problems at all. Otherwise, people like Justin Brown, Roberto Blake, all of these people with their paid memberships would be having this problem, and they're just not. So yeah, it's questionable things like crypto scams. Yeah, you're not doing a crypto scam, are you, Russell? I mean, I would assume not, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong about things before. But yeah, look, you're right. They are a little vague. They're trying to cover a lot of bases, but they are a little vague. I'm just double checking I'm not missing any things here. Yeah. Well, and what Esme Sky has written here, when it finally comes over, there it is. They're probably vague on purpose to prevent people from dancing on the line. That's exactly why they make things vague. That's exactly why they don't write things out in a clear, you know, these are our blocked words that we block on YouTube. Like, because Google has its own blocked words list for YouTube that they don't share. And they do this specifically so people cannot game their system. And it's only the evildoers that do that. But they have to protect the platform from the evildoers. It's all totally above board. Russell, like a Kajabi landing page, I can't see you having any problems with that. And you can very easily go, hey, dude, it's a Kajabi landing page. And they'll be like, oh, cool. And leave it at that. Yeah, no crypto scams. Yeah, he says no crypto scams. Yeah, he says no crypto scams. That's funny. That's fun. All right. So does anybody have any other questions for me? Or like it could be about YouTube, it could be about VidSummit, it could be about like anything. I was going to say, if you are thinking about going to VidSummit, get in now. The price is going up tomorrow. The early bird ticketing is about to end. So what's going to happen, as far as I'm aware at this stage, at around 5 p.m. on Monday Mountain Time, I think they've got it set for Mountain Time. So maybe get in before, just in case. They will make their final keynote announcements. But the second they've done that, the early bird pricing is gone. So if you are thinking about going and you're considering it and you want to save yourself, historically it's been at least $100 US. Get in and grab those tickets now. So, Livestream consultants wondering if Russell's going to VidSummit. Several loose roos are running about me, noggin, but no crypto scams. Yeah. Oh, that's right. You are. You're going to BBD Live this year instead. Yeah. That's Business by Design. That's a James Wedmore product. It's definitely worth checking out as well, if that is your jam. It's a really great way, especially if you're looking at making courses or selling a digital product. BBD is pretty damn solid. So, but if you're not doing courses or have digital products, it's trickier. So BBD might not be your jam. So yeah, so I don't travel much, so I've had to buy some stuff, okay? So I think I've got everything I need. I think. So what I'll do is after just before my retreat, because I'll be packing for my retreat, so some of the things will be used for retreat, to give them a test run, to see how they go, like luggage and stuff. One of the funny things was I realized I didn't actually have a toiletries bag, of all the things to not have, because Abby is interstate at the moment and she's living interstate. And whenever we travel, we've normally traveled as a family, and Abby and I have always just shared a toiletries bag. So she has the shared toiletries bag. So I was just like, oh, I got to buy some stuff. So I bought some things. So I may have gone a bit heavy-handed with a few things. But whatever, I don't care. They were inexpensive. I have bought compression socks, which is a new thing for me. I have bought some new shoes that, because I live in socks. Socks and slip-ons, because I'm in my house all the time. It's just like whatever. So I realized the last pair of like joggers that I'd bought were from 2016 and they'd seen better days. They're still fine for getting around the yard, but maybe not so fine in a bit more of a professional setting. So I had to go get some. I hate shoe shopping so much. I'm that girl. I hate shoe shopping that I would just be like, joggers can go with this outfit, right? Yeah, cool. So I've got those. Just trying to think. I made sure that on my devices I'll be able to charge. I've checked like the carry-on liquids limits. Like, traveling internationally is a whole new kettle of fish. I have traveled to New Zealand before, and that's technically internationally. But because it was like, I could just buy everything I was going to there. Chantelle's going to VidSummit in her bunny slippers. Yeah. Let's have a look here. Interesting contrast between PVA and Daryl Eves. Guess I'm more of a PVA YouTube operator. Look, you know what? I am a what works for your style kind of operator. I love PVA. I think PVA is fantastic. But I don't know enough about the Daryl Eves Channel Jumpstart program to be able to make a decision. I've never done it because it's outside of my budget. So, yeah, I think that we need to find what works for us. For a long time, I went around to a few different courses and did a few different ones. I was in Roberto Blake's Awesome Creator Academy, that is another fantastic one to go and check out. But every educator has a different style of speaking and a different, yeah, I've been reading the book. I'm not finished the book yet. I've got it just here under my lamp here. But and I like some of the ideas of the book, but I don't know how they would work in practice for me. Like I can see how they work in practice for some really big channels. I'm not a really big channel, so I'm struggling with sort of putting it into my buckets, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so I haven't really put any of Daryl's stuff into practice on my channels, whereas I have put Justin's stuff into practice on my channels. So it's new. I'm still getting there. Showmanship versus search. Yeah, look, I think that even like when you talk to Daryl now, I don't think he's as anti-search as he was. And it is also dependent on the kind of content that you're doing. For me, search is highly important, and I just blank out the other stuff. What is the PVA program? It is a program from Primal Video. It's their paid education portal. My brain just totally blanked on it. It's actually really great, and I really love it, and I highly recommend it. I can drop a link. I've got an affiliate link if you guys want it. It's on my website. If you go to my links page, so into my recommended, it's there, and you can go and check it out. If I can get you in now, but you'd have to pay an annual up front. Otherwise, if you wait until there's an intake, which happens a couple of times a year, you can choose the month to month and then upgrade it if you want. But I think it's an awesome resource, and I do think everybody should have it. And it is more affordable. It's $50 a month, or I think if you do the annual, you save a month or two. I can't remember the exact pricing off the top of my head, but yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Look, do you know what? I end up having to get the audiobooks because and Roberto doesn't have his. Is Roberto's book out on audiobook yet? Because I've got the book and I haven't sat down and read it, and I've got Save the Cat that I want to sit down and read. But I've read Tube Ritual, and Sean Cannell's I've got on audiobook as well. So, but yeah, it's I like the different styles, and I do look at it as a different style, and some resonate better with other people. So, let me just, come on, let me open a thing. There we go. That's not what I wanted. Go. Oh. And if you do sign up to PVA with my affiliate link, it does actually, it's a good affiliate. So, let me just grab that link. Copy link. Okay, let me just see if, there we go. I've just dropped my link for the Primal Video there. Daryl is definitely not anti-search. He's come around on that, but the primary push is to find what sells and sell it versus having something you want to sell and sell it using search. Yeah, they definitely have different nuances, and they work differently for different styles of content. And I think my style of content does lean more towards into Justin's program, into Primal Video, whereas I think if you're more of an entertainment-based channel, it would possibly work better. Or, I mean, I actually don't think either of them are better than each other, honestly. I think they're different. And so they have different styles, and they different potentialities and different ways of speaking and different ways of thinking. And I think that's the issue, is it's really hard to compare things that are just straight up different. So, yeah. Yeah, I thought I heard saying he was working on the audiobook format, but I don't know how old that was. I think it was like a recording of when the book first came out, and I don't know. I'll check with Roberto. But yeah, so I'm hoping to get to meet some of these people. Like, I really want to meet Roberto in real life, and I want to meet I just found out Phil Starkovich is going to be there, so I want to meet Phil. I would like to meet Daryl. Like, the chances are low, but I'd like to meet Daryl. And, you know, like there's people there that are going to be there that are not necessarily speakers at the event, but they're attending. And I think for me, that's more of the people that are attending. Like, sure, like I would definitely want to catch up with Nick, and if Andrew Can goes, I want to catch up with Andrew Can. But I have met them before. So if I've got to choose between catching up with people I know versus meeting new people, and I can't do both, like I want to do both, like really, I want to do both. But if I have to choose, there's some new people I want to meet. Like I want to meet live stream consultants, and I want to meet Home Rapid Repair. They're both coming along and I want to meet them. So I've got a feeling that I can't avoid live stream consultants even if I tried. But not that I would be trying, but yeah, I think that's a thing that, you know, is part of it. Here we go. Different styles for different business approaches to online businesses. Yeah. Yep. And Russell says they both work fabulously. Yeah. And I think that different people have different levels of success because, and this is something I even say like over on my knitting channel, on my Yarncraft channel, go and watch different people's content because how I'm teaching it may not resonate with you. But how somebody else words the exact same thing may resonate better. So you have to find the voice that works for you and go and test them all. Go and test them all. Livestream Consultant says, I'm kind of hard to miss as tall as I am. How tall are you? Gosh. Oh, Us Plus Dad said that he was actually able to chat with Daryl for a couple of minutes on the first night. Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know because I do get to go to the like the VIP, like the not the VIP, the opening party thing. Yeah, I think it is currently his only book. I do believe he's working on another book. So yeah, that is it. Create something awesome. So this is his current book, and I do believe there's another one coming. Sorry, Roberta, I'll just cover your name there. So yeah, there's another one coming. I will say I like the quality of the paper on Roberto's better than the quality of the paper on on Daryl's. In saying that, I did get my Daryl one from Amazon rather than directly from him, and I heard there was a difference in the paper qualities. I'm such a book nerd that paper quality is an issue for me. So, sorry for being a book nerd. Does the paper quality change my enjoyment of reading a book? Yes, it does. It actually does. So, do with that what you will. I don't know. I like good paper. I like good paper. I hate it when I buy a magazine. And you, like in Australia, getting one of those international craft magazines, they're really expensive, right? And then you get it and it's that horrible, flimsy magazine pulp that they use. And you're just like, oh man, could you have not at least used something nice? Like I've had to pay book prices for this magazine. Oh, you're 6'1". Wow, you are tall. I tend to be a lot taller than most people know I am. And around all the time. Wow. Yeah. Florida Manufactured says, I read 2 to 4 books on this business weekly. That is awesome. That's really good. I tend to consume a lot of video content. So I'll go through and join a membership or something and watch all their content. Reading the book would probably be quicker, but for me, the video is better than the book, which is bizarre because I am an overnight reader of books. Like if I get sucked into a book, I will read it in one night. But I've got to get sucked into the book. So I find that tends to work better for me with fiction rather than nonfiction. Paper quality is a thing. Sometimes the wrong paper will give me the nails on the chalkboard feeling. I can almost feel it now. Right? I'm the same. I'll just be like, oh, I've got to turn the page again. Ugh. But yeah, it's definitely an issue for me. So, I mean, it doesn't stop me from reading a book, but it definitely reduces my enjoyment of the book reading process. And one thing I will say, which is something I need to get over myself on, is since I needed reading glasses, I read a lot less at night. And nighttime reading was my thing. I would sit down, get comfy, cup of tea, and read a book. but since I've needed reading glasses, and that's only been in the last couple of years, I've noticed that I do that less because I tend to just veg on the couch with the TV on that I don't need glasses for. I don't need my glasses on to do my TV, like to watch TV. So, because I'm on screens and stuff all day, I like to give my eyes a little break. And then I've left my glasses in here, and then I'm like, oh, well, look, I'll get them later and I'll read later. And then it never happens. Livestream consultant says, my height makes it a bit tough getting in and out of light airplanes I get to fly in. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I didn't even consider that. Because I know you've said that you fly. So, gosh. Florida says, I'm still doing BBD, NGM. Which one's NGM? So Business by Design. I don't know what NGM is. Primal Video Accelerator, and about 8 online workshops a month. So lots of video content as well. Yeah, whereas I've just got like a lot of video content, but not also the books on top. I should probably get back into reading books. I definitely, look, I prefer to buy the Dead Tree editions, so I do. I buy the Dead Tree editions, but then I don't always get to them. And then I feel guilty about it, so I go and buy the audiobook as well, so I can at least listen to it while I'm doing other stuff. And by other stuff, I'm usually crocheting something really like mundane, so that I can concentrate while I'm working, because the pattern doesn't require brain power. Yeah. Let me jump back over here. Now, something I haven't done. Oh, it's a new generation. Oh, Brendan Lucero. Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, something I haven't done yet, which I need to do, which is where it is. Here we go. It is my Buy Me a Coffee supporters. So this is like my channel memberships when you don't have channel memberships. So on Cold Brew level, I have live stream consultants, and then on Espressos, I have Doug Hewson, YT, and Amazing Yacht Destinations. Thank you guys so much for every month supporting the channel by being supporters of my channel, as well as I know some of you also jump in and buy individual coffees as well. So thank you very, very much for always being there. I very much appreciate it. On that note, everybody, I'm going to call it a day. I've got to go and get some other things done. And I will chat with you next. I'm just thinking about the dates. Next week is still a week. I will be having a few weeks off while at Vid Summit because I will have a few travel days. I will be leaving on the Saturday before the event. And I don't know what my Monday will look like. No, it'll be Sunday night. I might be able to do a stream from my hotel on my phone. It will depend on what I'm doing. I don't know. I can't promise. But if I can, I will. But on the following Monday, I'll be in a plane. There's nothing I can do about that. So, my cat wants feeding. Well, you better go and deal with that, because, I mean, I personally know what my cats are like when it's their feeding time. So I'll catch you all next week. Have an awesome day, everybody. Keep an eye out on what's happening on YouTube. If you've got any questions, drop them to me over on Twitter, and we'll see what we can do. Have a good one. Bye now.